It's the same as usual, working at your own pace, making sure that nothing is causing pain or discomfort, as in joint pain, muscular discomfort, okay, but not joint pain. So if you're sitting, see if you can find a good position that allows a little bit more space at the front, especially in the abdomen, in the belly, that is going to allow you to breathe into the belly. If you're lying down, finding a comfortable position for the legs, keeping them bent, straight, allowing the arms to come down the side of the front of the chest to open. And then at the same time, just noticing where the body is, how the body feels, but more than anything, noticing where the breath is. So if I can feel it up at the top of the chest, if I can feel it in the throat, in the collarbone, in the neck, see if I can encourage the body and the breath to relax or to calm down. It's encouraging the top of the chest to stay soft and the neck to stay soft and relaxed. Feel the belly expanding with the inhalation and relaxing with the exhalation. I'm not forcing that breath, I'm not trying to push the belly out on purpose. I'm trying to let the breath do the movement. As I feel the breath is a little bit calmer, it feels a little bit easier, then I'm going to start to focus in on the back. I'm going to start with a little rotation, starting from the neck. I'm going to turn the head gently one side and then the other. So encouraging that little rotation into the cervical spine. So picture the very top of the spine. See if I can encourage movement to right and left the side, noticing how far I can go one way, how far I can go the other. Notice if anything catches, noticing, especially if you're standing, if the head is in a different position when I turn to the right and when I turn to the left. I might notice that when I turn to the left, my chin tends to drop a little bit more. When I turn to the right, it stays lifted. I'm not changing anything, just noticing any difference. Is it dropping because there is tension that's pulling me down, or is it dropping because instead of rotating, I'm trying to look down? See if I can maybe try to keep the eyes at the same level as I'm turning from the right to the left. If I'm lying down, it will be easier as the head is staying on the floor. But still, you might find that as I turn on one side, it feels that somehow the chin feels a little bit closer to the shoulder. Am I maybe shrugging the shoulder up to the chin? Can I relax the shoulders? Can I let them drop? Can I let them fall? 3, 2, 1. And releasing back. Returning the head back to the middle. And then changing the direction of the movement. From a rotation, I'm going to get into a little lateral flexion. So this time, instead of turning, I'm going to try and bring the right ear down to the right shoulder. And then the left to the left. So same as before, if you're lying down, again, you've got the floor to kind of like guide you. So my head is staying on the floor. I want my nose to point straight up at the ceiling. So I'm just trying to bring the ear to the shoulder without turning the head that way. If I'm standing, imagine the head to be against the wall behind. See if I can keep the back of the head against the wall so the nose is pointing straight forward, straight ahead, as I'm moving from one over to the other side. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Easing the head back to the middle, and then from lateral flexion, I'm going to go into forward flexion extension. So getting into a little skull rock. So tucking the chin into the throat as if I was trying to give myself a double chin. See if I can think of the back of the neck lengthening away. Then I'm going to pull the chin away and then lifting it up and towards the ceiling. See if I can find that gentle traction that from the chin drops down the front of the throat into the neck. Then I'm going to ease back, tuck the chin, and then lifting up, looking up, looking back, and then releasing down. So same as usual, especially on extension. So when the chin goes up, making sure that there is nothing pinching into the neck, so I don't feel any pain, any referred pain, like tingling down the arms or into the fingers. And then at the same time, notice the position of the mouth, of the tongue. If I keep my mouth open as I look up, that feels quite easy. If I try and close my mouth and almost like push that tongue into the roof of the mouth, that makes the stretch a little bit stronger. So see if I can try and find a little bit more traction as I'm going up, just making sure that I'm not forcing and creating pain. 2. Last one. And releasing back, returning the head back to the middle, giving the shoulders a little roll, making sure that the head is back to the center. And then I'm going to go around one more time, but this time see if I can try and stretch a little bit deeper. So turning the head to look over the right shoulder. With my right hand, I'm going to hold on to the side of the face, onto the left cheek, and then I'm just going to push around gently, see if I can encourage the head to turn just a little bit more. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Easing back, turning the head to look over the left shoulder. With the left hand, I'm going to put a little pressure, see if I can encourage the head to turn just a little bit more to the left. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and releasing back. Returning the head back to the middle. This time I'm going to drop the right ear to the right shoulder. So going back into the lateral flexion. With the right hand, I'm going to hook onto the side of the head, and then I'm going to gently pull it down. So see if I can create a little bit more stretch into the neck. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Easing back. Left ear to the left shoulder. With the right hand, I'm going to hook around the head. Gentle pressure. See if I can create that stretch. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And easing back. Then taking the chin towards the chest. I'm going to reach the hands behind the head this time. If you're lying down, lifting the head off the ground, see if you can curl the head on top of the chest until you can feel a nice stretch that from the base of the skull comes down the back of the neck, almost between the shoulder blades into the middle of the back. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And easing back, releasing the shoulders, releasing the neck. It's a little bit more movement at the top. I'm going to try and see if I can do the same thing, but moving down the spine. Starting with a little rotation again. I'm going to keep the head nice and relaxed. Raise the arms to the front, clasping the hands together or keeping the hands apart, and then I'm going to start to rotate it from side to side. I'm going to turn to the right, looking over the right shoulder, coming back to the center, turn to the left, looking over the left shoulder, back to the center, and then to the right again. So keeping the movement going. If you're seated, you see if you can take advantage of the space. There is no floor behind me preventing me from turning further into the twist, into the rotation. So see if I can try and use the space as much as possible, as much as I can. If I'm lying down, see if you can encourage that rolling from one shoulder onto the other. So think of that nice gentle rocking movement from shoulder to shoulder. Again, encouraging that rotation, but with the back staying on the floor, staying on the mat. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And release it back, returning the arms back to the middle, relaxing the shoulders. From rotation, I'm going to go into lateral flexion. So same as I did for the neck. If I'm seated, I'm going to reach the arms down the side. If I'm lying down, I might want to support the head with one arm and reach with the other. I'm just going to start reaching with the right hand down the right side, as if I was trying to pick something from the floor to the side, easing back to the center, and then flexing to the left. Easing back to the center, and then going over to the right. So see if you can think of the movement happening again through your thoracic spine. So I can feel the back moving, I can feel the upper back moving. Noticing how far you can reach to the right, how far you can reach to the left. And the same as you did for the head, notice the direction of the movement as well. If the back is a little bit restricted in that direction, the tendency will be to turn and look down, rotating forward. So see if I can picture that wall behind me, see if I can keep the back of my head and the back of the shoulders on the wall. It doesn't matter if the movement feels small, but see if I can encourage that lateral flexion. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, last one, and releasing back, returning the back to the middle, centering the shoulders, centering the spine, and then from lateral flexion, I'm going to move into flexion extension. If you're seated, you don't really need the arms. If I'm lying down, I'm going to support the head. I'm going to flex it forward. So this time, instead of just dropping the chin to the chest, I'm going to try and see if I can round my upper back a little bit more. I'm going to try and curl myself forward. So if I'm lying down, the head and the back of the shoulders might lift away from the ground. Then I'm going to release and then reverse. I want to push the head and the shoulders into the floor, into that imaginary wall behind, and then pushing the chest forward, extending my way up. Then again, I'm going to round and roll my way forward, and then I'm going to lift and open up. Roll and round my way forward, and then lift to open up. So see if you can think of the movement of this time coming from the middle of the back. Really trying to unlock any stiffness from the mid-thoracic, noticing which direction. I feel that the flexion is really easy, the extension feels really restricted, or vice versa. I feel that the extension is really easy, the flexion feels quite restricted. I'm going to focus on the flexion instead. 4, 3, 2, last one, and releasing back to the middle, relaxing the shoulders, middle of the back. Just a little bit more movement into the upper back too. I'm going to try and see if I can work it down into the lower back, so see if I can connect a little bit more into the hips. So starting with a little flexion extension, so it's exactly the same as you did before, as you just did right now. But see if you can, instead of thinking of curling the back of the rib cage, see if you can curl the lower back. So I'm going to tilt the pelvis, trying to scoop the belly in. I'm going to try and round my lower back, and then I'm going to tilt back into neutral. So tilting the pelvis back, pressing the lower back into the mat, and then easing back into neutral. So these times, see if you can be aware of the movement happening a little bit further down. So instead of rounding and hunching from the upper body, see if I can try and round from the bottom and then lift back up. Round from the bottom and then lift back up. So again, see if I can ease off some of the tension, some of the stiffness from the lower back. 5, 4, 3, 2, last one, and releasing back, resetting your neutral, relaxing through the hips, and then from flexion extension, I'm going to go into a little lateral flexion, so I'm going to go into a little hip hitch. So focusing on the side of the belly, I'm going to try and hitch the right hip up towards the right side of the rib. So if I'm sitting up, I'm aiming for the right seat bend, the right round cheek to try and lift away from the chair, then come back. And then I'm going to try and pull up on the left, and back, and then pull up on the right. So see if you can think of the side of the waist, the shortening. So I want to tighten up from one side, so I'm going to shorten the waist to see if I can pull up on the hip. Then shortening the waist the other way, pull up on the other side. So feeling the back of the pelvis and moving gently side to side. See if I can again ease off with some of the tension from across the back of the hips and the lower back. If I'm lying down, exactly the same, I can feel the floor behind. I'm going to keep both the sides of the hips and both sides of the pelvis on the floor, and then just trying to pull up on one and then pull up on the other side. Pull up on one and then pull up on the other side. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And releasing back, releasing the hips, releasing the lower back is a little bit more movement down the spine. I'm going to start focusing more on shoulders and hips. Starting with the shoulders, I'm going to work with one arm at a time. I'm going to raise the right arm up to the front and coming up with the front raise. I'm going to lift the arm as high as I feel comfortable without forcing, making sure that I'm not stiffening and shrugging. I'm not leaning off to the side, easing back, and then I'm going to try the same thing with the other side. So it could be a very little lift, it could be a very big lift. It doesn't matter. Just to see if you can notice while you're lifting, when you're lifting, making sure that it doesn't feel as if the head is kind of like poking forward, doesn't feel as if the back of the neck, it feels as if it's getting stiffer, it's getting tighter. And then as you keep the movement going, see if you can progressively create a little bit more stretch across the front of the chest. So imagine the muscle, it attaches to the middle of the sternum, to the middle of the rib cage, and then it comes up across towards the shoulder. So see if I can try and lengthen it and lift it up. Then I'm going to ease back, and then I'm going to try the same thing to the other side. Once that you feel that you've got the little traction across it, so I can picture the muscle, I can feel that lifting, I can feel that opening, then I'm going to play with that angle of the opening. So the next one, instead of raising the arm straight up, straight behind, I'm going to open up just a little bit wider, see if I can create a slightly different pull across the front of the chest. Then coming back, and then with the other arm, I'm going to do the same. Coming back, and then with the other arm, I'm going to do the same. And then to keep the movement going, same as before, notice the difference. And now that I've opened the arm a little bit more to the side, I can feel that one shoulder is different from the other. I can feel my right side pulling more than my left. My left is fine, my right is pulling. I'm going to focus on the right side. Vice versa, I can feel it more on my left side. And then I want to change the angle again. So on the next one, see if you can open straight out to the side. So I'm going to keep the arms roughly at shoulder level and then open it straight to the side. Coming back and then straight to the side and the other way. Coming back, straight to the side the other way. And then same as you've been doing so far, see each time you can picture that nice stretch across the front. So I'm trying to open up through the chest, changing the angle of the arms, so changing the direction of the stretch each time. 4, 3, 2, 1, and then changing the direction one last time. This time I'm going to open the arm, but I'm going to drop it down. So think of about a 45-degree angle between the arm and your body. And then I'm going to come back. And then a 45-degree angle between the other side, between the other arm and the body. And then start to play with the position of the arm. If I keep my palm facing forward, it makes it a little bit easier. If I keep my palm facing down, it makes it a little bit easier. If I try to turn the arm out, so if I try and turn the palm up, so as if I was trying to get my thumb to the wall behind, my thumb to the floor, that makes it a little bit stronger across the chest. So see if I can try and find the position that gives me the better traction across the front of the chest. It's not causing pain, it's just encouraging that opening across. 4, 3, 2, 1. And releasing back, releasing the shoulders, releasing the arms. Hopefully a little bit more opening across the front of the chest. I'm going to try and see if I can work into the hip joint, so see if I can get the hip going. So if you're seated or if you're lying down, I'm going to pick up the right leg, using the arms to support it or using the strap behind the thigh to support that leg. If you feel that you need that little support to that, I'm just going to hold that strap or hold that leg with my hands. And then, especially if you're lying down, imagine to be letting the leg drop into the hip socket. So nice and loose position. Then once that I've got the leg relaxed, I'm going to start moving it around. So drawing a circle with the tip of the knee on the wall in front of me. So round and round. If you're seated, it doesn't matter if the leg doesn't move very far. It doesn't matter if the leg doesn't lift very high. But see if I can try and encourage some movement into the hip joint. So my foot might stay on the floor, it might not lift. But see if I can try to cover as many directions as possible with that leg. So I'm not just going in and out or up and down. I'm really trying to cover as many directions as possible, really feeling the head of the femur, the top of the leg, moving into the hip socket. 3, 2, 1. Reversing the circle, I'm going to circle it the other way. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And releasing back, relaxing the leg, releasing the hip. I'm going to repeat the same on the left side. So bring that left leg towards you, placing the band around the back of the leg, using your hands if that works better. If you're sitting up, and then when you're ready, just to start circling the leg around. So same as you did on the other side, see if you can find that smooth movement into the hip socket. So round and round, noticing any catching, any grinding. See if I can avoid a painful range, a painful movement. So I want the movement to be smooth. I want the movement to be as easy, as relaxed as possible. 4, 3, 2, 1. Reversing the circle, going the other way. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And releasing back, releasing the hip, releasing the leg. This is a little bit more movement into the hip joint. I'm going to go back to the arms and the upper body. What I want is to go back into that opening through the chest, but this time instead of doing one arm, I'm going to try and do both. If I find that both arms are too heavy, especially as I'm doing the upwards lift, then I'm going to do one at a time. And then when I do the downwards one, as the arms are lighter in a better position, I'm just going to use both. So one or both arms together, I'm going to start to taking them up and behind, a nice long reach to the back. Then I'm going to ease back and then try again. So see if I can think of that lift coming from the right and the left side of the chest. They're trying to open up and create space at the front of the body, making sure that the movement is not causing me pain. I'm not stiffening through the shoulder, I'm not shrugging the shoulders, I'm not stiffening through the neck. 3, opening up into that lift, and then closing back. 2, open up into that lift, and back. 1, and coming down. Giving the shoulders a little bit of a roll. I'm going to try again. The same as before, this time I'm going to go a little bit wider, so changing the angle slightly. So instead of trying to reach straight up to the ceiling or straight to the back, I'm going to splay the arms out a little bit wider, and then I'm going to bring back by the side. So I'm going to lift and open, and then close and come back. Lift and open, close and come back. Both together. Or same as before, one at a time. If I feel this is still a position where the arm feels a bit too heavy, it's really pulling on the neck, it's really creating tension into the neck. I don't want that tension. 3, 2, 1. And releasing back, releasing the shoulders. And then one last time. This time I'm going to open the arms, but down to the side. So I'm going to start from the hips. I'm going to swing the arms a little far out, and then I'm going to open wide with both. Then come back, and then again a little bit further out, and then coming back. So aiming to that 45-degree angle. And then same as you did for the single arms, if you can think of externally rotating the arm, so turning the arm out into the shoulder socket, as if I was trying to put my thumb on the floor, and then come back. So really trying to create that little extra tension across the chest. 4, 3, 2, last one, and releasing back, releasing the shoulders, giving the shoulders a little bit of a roll, upper body a little bit more open, a little bit more relaxed, and then I'm going to focus on the legs. Shuffling the feet and the knees nice and close together, bending the knees and setting the feet flat on the floor if you're lying down on the back. I'm going to take a deep breath in, and then as I breathe out, I'm going to pull the knees out and away from each other. So I'm going to try and open the knees as far as I can. Then I'm going to close them back in again, and then I'm going to open out as far as I can. So the effort this time is on the opening. So I'm really trying to pull the knees out as wide as they will go, as far as there is no pinching or pain into the side of the hip. Same as usual, if I feel that the legs are not behaving, so they're not doing what I want them to do, then I'm just going to guide them. So I'm going to use the hands to help me opening out. And then if I feel that I need a little help, I'm going to use my hands to help me come back. As you keep the movement going, See if you can notice any stiffness going through the inner thigh and the groin. And then noticing any difference between the right and the left side too. So I might find that one side is a little bit tighter than the other, so it's not moving as well, or feels a lot stiffer. One arm is working a lot harder to push that leg out, it really doesn't want to go there. See if I can try and reach the end range where I can feel a gentle pull. Again, it's not creating pain in the hip or the groin, but I can feel a little bit more, little extra movement at the end range. 3, 2, last one, and releasing back, releasing the legs. I'm going to reverse the effort. This time, instead of focusing on opening, I'm going to try and focus on closing. So I can keep the knees together. If you feel that that's a bit sore, a bit painful, or I can't quite get the knees together, I'm just going to put the hands, I can put both hands or one hand only between the inner thighs. Pillow block, anything in the middle. And then from there, I'm just going to try and squeeze in. So I'm going to press in as hard as I can, and then I'm going to ease out. I'm going to squeeze in as hard as I can, and then I'm going to ease out. So this time, see if I can really focus on the inner thigh instead of lengthening, shortening and pulling everything in, everything tighter together, and then easing back. So squeezing and releasing, squeezing and releasing. And then as you keep the squeeze going, see if you can try and bring your focus onto your pelvic floor muscles. So think of your front passage, men and women, no difference. As you're squeezing the legs in, imagine to be lifting everything up towards the inside of the body. And then I'm going to release. And again, I'm going to squeeze and release. Squeeze and release. So see if I can find a better connection through the inner thigh, but also see if I can try and find a better connection into the pelvic floor muscles. 5, 4, 3, 2, last one, and releasing back, releasing the hips, releasing the inner thighs, a little bit more connection into the leg. I'm going to go back into the arms, allowing the legs a little rest. This time I'm going to try and see if I can focus a little bit more on varying the movement. So instead of just focusing on just one direction, I'm going to try and see if I can get them all. So focusing on one arm at a time, I'm going to raise the right arm up, I'm going to reach it behind, and then I'm going to circle around, come down to the hips, and then I'm going to reverse the circle, I'm going to circle in reverse, back round by the side. And then with the left, I'm going to do the same. So I'm going to lift up, I'm going to circle around one way, then reverse the circle to come back to my starting position, and then I'm going to try the same thing to the other side. So it could be a very small circle, it could be a very big circle. It's whatever feels comfortable for the right and for the left shoulder. As one arm is moving at the time, it doesn't matter if one shoulder is stiffer than the other. I'll be doing what I can with the right arm, and I'll be doing what I can with the left arm. Just making sure the same as I've been doing so far, the movement is not causing me pain. So noticing any clicking along the way. Normally the clicks happens in the same, exactly the same spot, just to see if I can, when I get close to that spot, maybe slow down the movement, play with the position of the hand, see if I can find a better combination between the arm and the shoulder socket, and I might actually be able to get rid of that click. 4, circling one way, and then circling the other. 3, circling one way, and then circling the other. 2, big circle one way, big circle the other. Last time, One way and the other. Releasing the shoulders, relaxing the arms again. It's a little bit more movement through the shoulder girdle. I'm going to work on the legs again. This time, instead of going in and out, I'm going to try and keep my focus at the front and back. So what I want is front of the hip first and then the back of the bum. So I'm going to settle the legs a comfortable distance, keeping the knees bent if you're lying down on the mat. And then what I want is to try and pull up on the right side. So I'm going to roll up onto the ball of the foot and then think of your right hip closing to lift the foot off the ground. Then I'm going to ease back and then I'm going to repeat the same. So same leg, same movement. I'm going to try and create a little pull and then easing back. Same as I did for the opening. If the leg feels really heavy, so I feel that I can't lift it, it feels too heavy. See if you can try and guide that leg in the direction you want it to go. So with the hands or with the strap around the back, I'm going to try and ease that leg into that little lift. And then I'm just going to try and control it back down again. The arms will be helping, but see if I can try and keep my focus not on the arms pulling on the leg, but the hip creating that little up and down movement. 5, 4, 3, 2, last one, and releasing back, relaxing the hip, releasing the leg. I'm going to do the same thing with the other side. So same as before, I'm going to try and roll up onto the ball of the foot, and then see if I can close that left hip, lifting that left foot off the ground, and then easing back. And then same as I did on the right side, if I feel that this leg is not behaving, so I find it's really hard, I can barely move it, and I'm just going to guide it with the arms. Grabbing hold of the trousers, again using the strap, towel band around the leg, and then I'm just going to try and see if I can encourage that little movement up and down. Same as on the other side, the foot doesn't need to lift completely off the ground to create that movement into the hip. So as far as I can feel that slight up and down movement into the hip joint, that's all I want. 5, 4, 3, 2, last one, and releasing back, releasing the hip, releasing the leg, and then changing the effort. From the front of the hip, I want to get into the back of the hip, into the back of the bone. So setting the feet at a comfortable distance, and then focusing on the back of the hips, so focusing on the back of the bum. I'm going to squeeze my bum cheeks together and relax. Squeeze them together and relax. Squeeze them together and relax. So if you're lying down, every time that you squeeze the bum cheeks together, you can also feel the pelvis going into a little tilt. As I'm sitting up, every time that I squeeze my bum cheeks together, I can feel myself almost like bouncing up and then dropping back down again. So see if I can try and get that control through. If you feel that you've got that control, then I'm going to see if I can start loading. So I'm going to clench my bum cheeks together, and then I'm going to try and see if I can lift up. Then come back, squeeze, and lift, and then back. Just think of pulling off the chair, so make yourself lighter on the chair. I don't need to lift off completely, just to see if I can make myself a little bit lighter, and then drop back into it. If I'm lying down, squeezing the hips up as high as I feel comfortable, making sure that that's not causing pain into the back or any pressure into the neck. And then exactly the same as you did for the inner thigh squeezing. See if you can start to bring in the intention, or the tension, back into your pelvic floor muscles. So as I squeeze my bum cheeks together, I'm going to try and pull up from the front passage as if I was trying to lift everything off the chair. and then I'm going to drop back. So I'm going to squeeze everything up and then drop everything back down. 5, 4, 3, 2, last one, and releasing back, releasing the hips, releasing the legs. Just a little bit more connection front to back. I'm going to give the leg a little bit of a stretch. So extending your right leg in front of your left leg, whichever one in front of you. If I'm lying down, I'm going to grab hold of the leg or place the band around the foot, and then I'm just going to gently start pulling the leg towards me. See if I can get the stretch coming down the back of the leg. If I'm sitting up, I'm going to have 2 options. I can either keep the leg as straight as possible in front of me and then leaning forward into the leg until I can feel the stretch, or I can use the band at the same as everybody else is doing lying down, and then I'm going to lift that leg up. That depends on how heavy the leg feels to lift into the stretch. So finding the position that gives you the better stretch, hold it steady. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and releasing back, relaxing the leg, releasing the hip. Same thing with the left side. So straightening up the left leg as much as I can, placing the strap around the foot if I can, pulling the leg gently towards me. If I can't do that, just I'm sitting, I'm just going to ease my way forward into the leg until I can feel a little bit of a traction coming down the back of the leg the other way. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release it back. Releasing the legs, releasing the hips. So when you're ready, rolling over onto your side, and in your own time, pushing yourself all the way back up into sitting. Finding a comfortable seated position, using the arms to offer a little support if you need to. Finding the seat bones to see if I can try and put the seat bones nice and flat against the mat, nice and flat against the chair. And then extending through the upper back, I'm going to push the chest forward, see if I can create a nice lift all the way through the front of the body. Dropping the shoulders back and down, looking forward, looking up, looking back. You're trying to extend as far as you can. And then releasing the extension, coming forward into flexion. Allowing the chin to drop, the shoulders to come forward, the back to round, nice and relaxed. And then I'm curling back up, extending your way up, looking forward, looking up, looking back. And releasing, letting the chin drop, the shoulders come forward, rolling down and towards the ground. And curling all the way back up, extending your way through, and releasing back. One hand to the belly, one hand to the back. Take your bow, give yourself a clap again. Any question or anything as usual, please say. Remember, you